Good evening, everybody. This is Robin with another edition of Horror Pop After Midnight, and my guest tonight is filmmaker John Hancock. How's it going, John?
Good. Nice rainy Sunday.
Oh, I know. You gotta love the Midwest weather. We got a little bit of rain over here outside where I'm at too.
Well, we needed it very badly. It's been dry for like 2 or 3 weeks, so I'm happy to have nice rain.
All right. I watched one of your films yesterday on Amazon called "Let's Scare Jessica to Death." So, how'd you become part of that project?
Well, it was my first feature. I had made a short about businessmen that played touch football in Central Park that was a comedy.
Okay.
And William Wyler's daughter saw it and liked it and recommended me to Charles Moss Sr. and Jr., who wanted to make a scary picture, and they owned a string of theaters on the West Coast, on the East Coast, including the Criterion. It was really the premier theater in Manhattan. It's like where Lawrence would open and that kind of thing. So they sent me a script, which was really a parody of a scary movie. It was called It Drinks Hippie Blood. It was in the 60s. And I said I didn't want to do a parody of a scary movie, but I wanted to do a scary movie. And if they'd let me rewrite it, I would gladly do it. And they said, okay. And so I did, and we did. It was a 25-day shooting schedule. It was very tight, not a lot of money, but it turned out well, and I was very pleased with it.
Oh, I loved it. Let's talk about the farmhouse. I love the Victorian farmhouse. Where'd you film that in that farmhouse at?
We filmed the whole thing around East Haddam, Connecticut, along the Connecticut River, in Chester and Old Saybrook, and I don't remember exactly where that farmhouse was, but it's kind of a cult thing, and people visit that farmhouse on their vacations and that kind of stuff. So it's I don't know where it is. I was there. I drove through that area and tried to find some of the locations. I don't know, 10 years ago.
Okay.
And I found some of them, but not the farmhouse.
Yeah, and the cool thing I liked about the film, I love the film score in it, because the film score is very important in the film. I love it because it was behavioral, moody, and it felt like it was part of the character in the film in certain scenes between the characters, which really, got you into the film because it was so psychological, and it really messed with your head, and I loved it because, it just got in your mind, and it really, freaked you out and kept you on the edge of your seat.
Well, that's good. I'm glad. That's what we wanted to do. It was a composer that I worked with a lot named Orville Stober wrote most of it, and we kind of augmented what he did with synthesizer. So it was an electronic score kind of undercutting Orville's melodies.
Yeah. The actress who played Emily, she gave me the most eerie, creepy vibe. And the one shot you shot in the film where she was slowly, coming out of the lake in that white wedding dress heading towards Jessica. And and I love the shot because it felt like you were looking through Jessica's eyes through the camera when she was slowly creeping out of the water. That creeped me out.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Yeah, Mary Claire, I knew her, she had helped cast a Broadway show that I did. Mm-hmm. And I got to know her through that, and I liked her as an actress, and she read with the people that we were reading, which is, a very smart way for actors to get hired. The person that is at auditions and services the people that are deciding by doing the readings very often gets cast.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. There was a lot of jump scares, and I was very satisfied with the ending. And the actress who played Jessica, I love how you made her very fragile and vulnerable at the same time. Because of all the craziest stuff that was going around in her life when she finally went to that farmhouse. I mean, I really got invested into that character. I mean,
well, yeah, Zora Lampert is a wonderful actress, and I'd seen her do a Broadway comedy where she was hilarious, and I'd seen her play Catherine in Mother Courage, and she was wonderful in that. I mean, she's really got it. And I think she was really probably principally responsible for why Jessica's good.
Oh yeah, I loved it because it was a whole good versus evil thing. I mean, between her and Emily, I mean, they had that great chemistry and they really played off each other. I mean, the whole cast did too, but between Jessica and Emily, man, that really made the movie. I mean, there was other scenes and other characters that made part of the movie, but that's the whole thing I liked about it. Because I love horror films where it doesn't, have that much blood, where it just messes with you, especially early 70s horror, which I really like. Because, it's like a good example, like the original Halloween. Same thing. Carpenter did the whole psychological thing too, which I loved, which, also made, Let's Scare Jessica to Death. But yeah, I definitely got to find that on Blu-ray and get it.
Yeah, the commentary is interesting on that too. But Bill Bottolato, that was a line producer, and I did the commentary together at the same time. He was watching on the West Coast, and I was watching in Chicago, and we recorded our conversation, and it's fun to listen to.
And the cool thing about the movie, it came out in 71. It's a year older than me because I was born in 72.
Oh my God! Oh wow! Oh, that's wild.
So the movie's a year older. Now let's talk about another movie you did. It was called Wolfen, and it came out the same time as American Werewolf in London and The Howling. And I just love that film. It just didn't get much credit like the other two films. I mean, it's a great werewolf film. I'm a fan of werewolf films. I mean, I just liked it. I would put it up in my top 5 werewolf movies, and I always get like people to watch it and they're like, what's Wolfen? I was like, dude, you gotta watch this. It's a great werewolf movie.
Well, I didn't direct it. I was called in to replace Michael Wadley.
Okay.
And I shot the wolves and I shot a couple scenes, but it was really his picture what I did do is I was responsible for overseeing the editing of it.
Okay.
And he was fired because he had, I think, a 4-hour cut that he was refusing to shorten.
Okay.
It was deeply unwatchable. It was extremely dull. And I understand why they fired him. But I worked with some very good editors, and we put it in shape and made it palatable. I don't think it's nearly as good as American Werewolf in London, but I totally agree with you, but I really enjoyed. It's good. It's a good movie.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I saw it not too long ago because somebody brought it up to me, and it's like, Rob, you like werewolf movies? Because another werewolf movie I loved was called Dog Soldiers, which was another great werewolf film, and they brought it to me, and I liked it. So it was like my first time seeing it. So it's like So, and I've been telling that to everybody, and I've been getting people to see it all the time. I mean, you've done a lot of stuff. You also did Cover Up, where it had John Leaf Garrett in it, before, he killed himself. And I remember when he was in that TV series, The Voyagers. How'd you become part of the Cover Up series?
My wife at that time grew up in Cuba with a woman named Paula Dunaway, and her brother was Don Dunaway, who was the executive producer on Cover Up, and he gave me the job. So it was through my wife's best friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
It was the first episodic show I'd done, and it's not easy to break into episodic television because they're afraid that if you're a feature director, you won't be able to make the schedule. But once you prove you can make the schedule, then you can work steadily. And that was he gave me a chance to do that, and I did. So
how many episodes did you do?
I just did one of that, but I did a couple of Hill Streets, and I did a number of Twilight Zones, and cracker. And I mean, I've enjoyed doing episodic television. Most people see it as humiliation. I don't.
Hey, there's nothing wrong doing, TV as well. How'd you become part of Prancer, the film with Sam Elliott?
Dino's daughter, Rafaela de Laurentiis,
Okay.
had been kind of the executive in charge of Weeds, the Dick Nolte picture I did about a prison drama group
Okay.
for Dino. So she was on that picture, so I got to know her and liked her, and she liked me. And I don't know, we had lunch at the Dome, and she said she had a script she wanted to know if I wanted to do, and she sent me Prancer. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do a picture about a little girl and a reindeer. But my second wife, who I was married to for 48 years until she died a year and a half ago, said, no, do it. It'll become a classic. And I said, but the dialogue is so terrible. She said, I'll fix it for you. And she did. So that's this was an offer I got from Rafaela de Laurentiis and Cineplex.
Okay. So, have you ever thought about writing a feature film or any short films like today? Have you ever thought about getting back into it and doing it?
Oh yes, my God, sure. I have a project I'm trying to get on now called A Love Story about a New York detective who falls in love with a serial killer, a female serial killer, and it's in the hands of a very important manager in Los Angeles who's trying to put it together. I've been making kind of one picture every 5 years where I live,
mm-hmm.
and so I'm still very active.
That's pretty good. The film you're working on right now, what you just said, you have me interested at serial killer. I love films about serial killings and stuff, especially if it's a female serial killer, because those girls get wild when they start going on those killing sprees.
Well, she's also it's also a love story too, so it fires on several barrels. I mean, the emotional story works and the thriller story works. So I'm proud of it, and I think it'll do very well.
So when you're not filmmaking or writing and all that great stuff, what do you enjoy? What does John enjoy doing? Do you have like a passion or a hobby you enjoy doing besides filmmaking?
Well, I love gardening and I love woodworking, and I used to keep bees, but all the bees, I lost 25 hives, and there's a major bee extinction that's taking place worldwide, where 80% of the bees in the world are dead. So I suffered from that. So I've stopped beekeeping, but I'm a gardener and a woodworker.
Oh wow! What type of woodwork do you do?
Well, cabinets and tables and chairs.
Oh, nice. Do you make your own furniture around your house, or
Yeah.
Do you also make it for like your friends as well?
I do.
Nice.
I've also sold a lot of stuff. I make kind of high-end cabinets.
That's pretty wild. That takes a lot of skill and patience to do woodworking just to perfect that.
It smells so good. It's the wood. I live on a farm, and I cut down a lot of trees and had them sawed up and killed, and so I started woodworking to use the trees from my farm.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So what do you think about independent horror films today and how they're getting more popular? Because you see certain indie horror films coming to the big screen now a lot lately. And do you think indie horror is on fire right now?
I do. It's always felt to people that are starting out like an avenue, like it's a commercial avenue that they can have an entry project of some sort. And it was for me. Not volunteer. I didn't plot to do that. It just happened by accident that was what I was offered. But I'm glad I did it. And a lot of the credit goes to Paramount. because they really released it superbly. I mean, they spent a lot of money on marketing, and when we made it, it was called Jessica. Now, there's a big difference in commercial appeal between Jessica and Let's Scare Jessica to Death, and that was Frank Yablans at Columbia and the people that worked for him that made that change, which was a very smart change. And it was a wonderful ad campaign. They were really, and a kind of old-fashioned ballyhoo where they would have, outside of a big theater where it opened in every town, they'd have a horse-drawn hearse and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, you gotta love the hearse. I mean, and I love how the hippie added love on the back of the hearse. That kind of that kind of had like an interesting touch. And those creepy town people, man, it felt like a Nightmare on Mayberry. If I was in a town like that, I'd get out of there as fast as I can, man.
Well, you'd be wise to, right? Yeah.
But I wouldn't be driving a hearse, though. I'd be driving something else. So, the hearse in the film, where'd you get the hearse at?
I don't know. Transportation department did that. I mean, you can buy old hearses. Whether we rented it or bought it, I don't know. I think we probably rented it.
Wow, that's... yeah, I was wondering about that. I mean, especially the... part in the film where you see Jessica getting out of the hearse in the back. I go, wow, you wanted to go ride in the back of a hearse? I don't think I could do that.
Well, people were doing that at that point. I mean, it was kind of a hippie thing to get a hearse as your ride.
Yeah, well, at least it wasn't one of those old ambulance hearses,
Right.
With this, just picture Jessica and them, coming in a ambulance hearse bus with the siren and everything, and these town folks are going, okay, what's this ambulance doing here in town? Which is pretty wild. So, since you're doing a bunch of features, are you doing any like short films as well, or?
I haven't. No, there's not really a market for shorts, is there?
I thought there was a market for a lot of shorts. I've been to a lot of indie horror film festivals, and there's like
festivals, but there's no income from that, is there?
Yeah, no. They just, most of those guys will have to fork their money out to do it, and I give them respect because they put their heart and soul in it, because you got to write the script, you got to find the location, you got to get the actors, you got to find out how to get the money. So on Let's Scare Jessica to Death, was there any scenes that you wanted to put in the film that you guys didn't? Is there like any like extra scenes or?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No. It was not a very long script.
Okay.
It was, page-wise or minute-wise. I mean, and we didn't have that many shooting days, so we were careful not to shoot anything that we didn't need.
Okay.
I can't remember anything that we cut in the editing. No important events.
So, do you have a horror film you love going to? Do you love watching horror films? What's that one horror film that you go to that you really enjoy, you can watch over and over again?
Well, Psycho, I was very scared by the Babadook.
Oh, that movie was a trip too. I mean, I was a little bit scared of that. I'm glad you picked Psycho. I mean, Norman Bates was just creepy as ever, and the thing that made that film was just the music and the creepiness factor of it.
Yeah. Well, I looked at a lot. As I was preparing to do Let's Scare Jessica to Death, I watched a lot of Hitchcock.
You watched a lot of Hitchcock?
Yeah. I rented a projector and the producers borrowed a lot of 16mm prints from me, and I sat in my living room watching Hitchcock pictures over and over. So,
of all the Hitchcock films you've watched, what's your favorite one of all the Hitchcock films? Besides Psycho?
Notorious, maybe.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
North by Northwest I like, but Notorious more.
Yeah, I loved Strangers on the Train. That that one kept you on the edge of your seat, and you kept on. I love where you kept on guessing because you didn't know what was going on, and you can feel the stress on the characters too. It just really got you into the film. That would be in my top 5 Hitchcock films.
Yeah, not Vertigo, huh?
No, I love Vertigo. That's in my top 2. I mean,
Yeah.
you gotta love Jimmy Stewart, man. The scare of heights. I mean, heights don't bother me one bit. I can go up to the highest thing and it wouldn't affect me like how it did Jimmy Stewart's character. I'd sit up on a high building or high anything anytime I want. It wouldn't bother me one bit.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Somebody told me that Cincinnati was Winston Churchill's favorite city. How do you explain that?
That's a good question. Because William Howard Taft is from Cincinnati too.
Right.
I don't know what he loved about it. I mean, I know the history of Cincinnati, but I don't think there was any particular thing.
Maybe he just made good friends or something.
I think he made good friends because in Cincinnati, it has a lot of German background. If you go like downtown to certain neighborhoods, it's like all German and Jewish.
Oh, really?
A little bit, yeah. It's like a huge like Jewish community, and there's like some parts are like German. That's what which is historic about. A lot of Germans came to Cincinnati.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they have that, and every year they have that big Oktoberfest.
Ah.
I mean, everybody has Oktoberfest, but it just feels special.
Especially spectacular in Cincinnati.
Exactly. And then they do the crazy chicken dance. They'll get somebody every year to do the chicken dance at the Oktoberfest. Cincinnati has a lot of historic stuff. I like it because it has a lot of historical, structures and architecture, which is pretty interesting. But the question you asked me, I think he just probably liked it because he probably just had some friends or something and just enjoyed his visit, I can't see anybody going, Cincinnati's an awesome city.
Compared to Rome or London, right? It's or Paris. It's not as pretty as Paris. It has bridges, but not like
it has a lot of bridges. But the cool thing about Cincinnati a lot lately is they've been getting a lot of big Hollywood films being filmed there because of the Ohio tax, to get a break on the Ohio tax.
I didn't know that. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and there's a lot of big films been filmed out there. I mean, Pacino was out here that did a film. Bruce Willis did a couple films. They filmed some stuff from the new Superman movie coming out. They did the movie The Bike Riders, that motorcycle gang movie that just came out. That was shot over there in Laughlin, Ohio, and some parts of Hamilton. So Cincinnati gets a lot of big films. And another cool thing about Ohio and Indiana and Kentucky, it's a hotbed for indie horror. Everybody just loves making indie horror films in the Midwest.
Right. Especially.
A lot. And then you get and then we're real known for our haunted house attractions too. There's a lot of crazy people in Ohio that love to scare people and love to make horror. That's one thing I like about Ohio.
I have I just got a text message that I need to attend to.
Okay.
Wind this up and
yeah, let's go ahead and light it up right now. Let's give a big thank you to Stephen Joyner. If it wasn't for him, this would make it possible. Stephen, thank you. John, thank you so much out of your busy schedule to come on. And
I enjoyed it. It's wonderful to talk to you.
Yeah, it was wonderful as well. So do you have like a website or...
I do.
Or social media where people can find you?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, yeah.
Okay.
John D. Hancock on Facebook, yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on. You have a great weekend.
You too. Great.
And everybody, thank you for listening to Horror Pop After Midnight. Have a great evening.